Your person just realized you were the one they couldn't replace. Their next move will shock you. My beloved child, if you are hearing these words right now, take a deep breath and allow your heart to become still for a moment, because this message is about a powerful realization that may be unfolding in the heart of your person. There are moments in life when someone can walk away, become distant, remain silent, or pretend that they no longer care, but distance does not always erase a connection. Sometimes distance reveals what closeness allowed someone to take for granted. My beloved child, your person may have spent time trying to convince themselves that they could move forward without thinking about you, but something has changed inside them. They are beginning to understand the value of the person they once had in their life. They are beginning to recognize the patience you showed, the love you gave, the understanding you offered, and the emotional presence you carried even when you were not asking for anything in return. My beloved child, you may have wondered why they became quiet, why their behavior changed, why they sometimes appeared close and then suddenly distant, or why they seemed to hide feelings that were obvious to you. But sometimes a person needs time to confront their own emotions. Sometimes they need silence before they understand the importance of someone's presence. Sometimes they need to experience life without that person before they realize how deeply that person had become part of their world. And this is why you should not assume that silence always means the end. Your person may be going through an internal battle that you cannot see. They may be remembering conversations, moments, smiles, messages, small gestures, and situations that once seemed ordinary but now feel incredibly meaningful. They may be comparing what they experienced with you to what they have experienced elsewhere, and that comparison may be revealing something they were unwilling to admit before. My beloved child, you were never meant to chase someone simply to prove your worth. Your worth was never dependent on whether another person recognized it immediately. You were valuable before they understood you. You were worthy before they appreciated you. You were deserving of genuine love before they realized what they had lost. Sometimes people recognize someone's value only after they no longer have easy access to that person's energy, attention, kindness, and presence. Your person may now be discovering that replacing you was not as easy as they imagined. They may have tried to distract themselves. They may have tried to focus on other things. They may have told themselves that everything would eventually feel normal. But somewhere along the way, something reminded them of you. It could have been a song, a location, a conversation, a familiar phrase, a photograph, a memory, or simply a quiet night when there was nobody around to distract them from their own thoughts. And in that silence, your memory may have become louder. My beloved child, sometimes the heart speaks when the world becomes quiet. Your person may be realizing that what they had with you was different. They may not know how to express it yet. They may still be afraid of rejection, embarrassment, vulnerability, or the possibility that you have moved on. They may wonder whether you would even listen if they came back. They may question whether they still have a place in your life. This uncertainty can make someone hesitate, even when their feelings are strong. But understand this clearly, you do not need to force their decision. You do not need to send endless messages. You do not need to prove that you are still waiting. You do not need to compete with anyone. If someone truly recognizes your value, their actions must eventually speak louder than their confusion. My beloved child, let this message remind you that your peace matters. Your emotional health matters. Your dignity matters. Love should not require you to abandon yourself. If your person is returning, let them return with clarity. If they are reaching out, let their actions demonstrate intention. If they are apologizing, let the apology be accompanied by changed behavior. And if they are asking for another opportunity, let them understand that a second chance is not a return to the old relationship, it is an invitation to create something healthier and more honest. Your person may be realizing that you were the one they could not simply replace because what you offered was not merely attention. You offered emotional depth. You offered understanding. You offered a kind of connection that cannot be manufactured. But remember, my beloved child, this does not mean you should put your entire life on hold waiting for someone else. Continue growing. Continue living. Continue becoming the strongest and most peaceful version of yourself. Your life is not paused because someone else is confused. Your future is not dependent on another person's decision. You are allowed to move forward while someone else is figuring out what they truly want. And sometimes that very movement is what makes them understand the difference between having access to you and having a meaningful place in your life. Your person may have expected you to remain exactly where they left you. They may have believed that whenever they were ready, you would still be available. But life has a way of teaching people that hearts cannot be placed on shelves and retrieved whenever convenient. People evolve. People heal. People become stronger. And you may be becoming someone who no longer accepts the same treatment you once tolerated. My beloved child, this transformation within you may be one of the reasons your person is suddenly looking at you differently. They may sense that something has changed. Your energy may feel different. Your silence may feel different. Your confidence may feel different. You are no longer desperately asking to be chosen. You are beginning to understand that you deserve to be chosen freely, consistently, and sincerely. This realization within you can change the entire dynamic. Your person may now be asking themselves questions they avoided before. Why did I let this person go? Why did I take their love for granted? Why did I ignore their efforts? Why did I assume they would always be there? Why am I still thinking about them? Why does nobody else seem to create the same emotional response? Why do memories of them continue returning? These questions can become uncomfortable because they force a person to confront their own choices. And sometimes regret begins quietly. It starts with a memory. Then another memory appears. Then a comparison. Then curiosity. Then longing. Then the desire to know whether the door is still open. My beloved child, your person may be reaching that stage now. They may be thinking about contacting you, but they could still be deciding how to approach you. They may not want to appear desperate. They may be afraid that you will reject them. They may not know whether to apologize directly or begin with a simple conversation. They may be watching for an opportunity, a sign, or a natural reason to reconnect. But remember, you do not need to predict their exact move. You only need to protect your peace. If they reach out, listen carefully. If they speak honestly, pay attention. If they avoid accountability, recognize that too. Do not let excitement erase wisdom. Do not let longing make you ignore patterns. My beloved child, love is beautiful when it is mutual, respectful, honest, and consistent. The purpose of this message is not to make you obsess over another person's every action. It is to remind you that you should never underestimate your own value. You may have spent so much time wondering whether you were enough that you forgot to ask whether they were giving you enough. You may have spent so much energy analyzing their behavior that you forgot to examine how their behavior made you feel. You may have been so focused on whether they would return that you forgot you also have the right to decide whether you want them back. That is a powerful shift. You are not simply waiting to be chosen. You are also choosing. My beloved child, if your person truly realizes that you were irreplaceable, they must understand that love is not just about missing someone. Missing someone is an emotion. Commitment is a decision. Regret is an emotion. Change is an action. Attraction is an emotion. Respect is a practice. So if they come back, look for the evidence of growth. Look for consistency. Look for accountability. Look for communication. Look for effort. Look for peace rather than confusion. You do not need perfection, but you deserve sincerity. Your person may have learned through absence what they could not understand through presence. They may now realize that some connections are not easily duplicated. There are people who make you laugh, people who give you attention, people who look good beside you, people who temporarily distract you, but there are very few people who make you feel understood at a deeper level. If you were one of those people for your person, they may now be realizing exactly what they lost. My beloved child, perhaps you remember the moments when you gave more than you received. Perhaps you remember waiting for a message, wondering why someone became distant, questioning what you did wrong, or blaming yourself for another person's inability to communicate. Let that pain teach you, but do not let it define you. You were not unworthy because someone failed to recognize your worth. You were not difficult to love because someone was emotionally unavailable. You were not replaceable simply because someone walked away. Sometimes people walk away from good things because they are not prepared to handle them. Sometimes people reject what they secretly desire because vulnerability scares them. Sometimes people choose temporary comfort over meaningful connection because meaningful connection requires responsibility. My beloved child, your person's realization may therefore come with mixed emotions. They may feel regret and hope at the same time. They may feel fear and desire simultaneously. They may want to contact you while worrying that it is too late. They may imagine what it would be like to see you again. They may wonder whether your eyes would look different after everything that happened. They may wonder whether you still care. They may wonder whether you have someone else. They may wonder whether they still matter to you. These thoughts can become intense when a person realizes that the one they thought they could replace is actually the one whose absence continues to affect them. But do not let their uncertainty become your burden. My beloved child, you have your own journey. You have your own purpose. You have your own future. Keep moving toward it. If your person is meant to return in a healthy way, they will need to meet you where you are growing, not drag you backward into the version of yourself that accepted less. And if they cannot do that, then your growth will still be worthwhile. Because the greatest victory is not making someone regret losing you. The greatest victory is becoming so secure in your own worth that their regret no longer determines your happiness. My beloved child, there may be a moment when your person finally decides to take action. It may begin with a simple message. It may begin with a question. It may begin with an apology. It may begin with a casual conversation that secretly carries a deeper purpose. Do not rush to interpret every word. Allow their actions to unfold. Sometimes the most powerful response is calmness. You do not have to immediately reveal everything you feel. You can listen. You can observe. You can allow time to show whether this is genuine transformation or temporary emotion. Your person may have realized something important, but realization is only the beginning. They must now decide what to do with that realization. My beloved child, there is something else you must understand. Being irreplaceable does not mean being indispensable to someone else's life. Your value does not come from being impossible to replace. Your value comes from who you are. You are valuable because you are you. You have qualities, experiences, kindness, dreams, imperfections, strengths, and depth that make you unique. Never reduce your worth to whether another person misses you. You are more than someone's longing. You are more than someone's regret. You are more than someone's future decision. You are a whole person with a life that deserves to be lived fully. My beloved child, if your person comes closer again, let the relationship begin from truth rather than fantasy. Ask yourself whether the connection brings peace. Ask whether communication is healthy. Ask whether both people are willing to grow. Ask whether the past has been addressed rather than ignored. Ask whether the future is being built rather than merely imagined. These questions will protect your heart. And if your person is sincere, they will not be offended by your boundaries. A mature person understands that trust must be rebuilt through consistency. They will not demand immediate access to the old version of you. They will earn your trust patiently. They will understand why you became cautious. They will recognize the wounds their choices created. They will not ask you to forget everything overnight. My beloved child, perhaps this is the greatest lesson hidden inside this entire situation. Sometimes the person who leaves teaches you how to choose yourself. Sometimes the person who disappoints you teaches you boundaries. Sometimes the person who ignores you teaches you that your attention is precious. Sometimes the person who makes you question your worth pushes you toward discovering it. And sometimes, after all those lessons, the same person returns and sees you differently because you see yourself differently. They no longer encounter the person who was desperately trying to hold everything together. They encounter someone who knows that love should be shared, not begged for. They encounter someone who understands that silence can be powerful. They encounter someone who no longer fears walking away from what harms their peace. My beloved child, this is why you should continue becoming stronger. Not to make your person jealous. Not to make them regret leaving. Not to prove anything. Become stronger because your life deserves your best effort. Heal because you deserve peace. Grow because your future deserves your attention. Love yourself because you are the person who will remain with you through every season. Your person may be realizing your value, but you must realize it too. My beloved child, perhaps they are remembering your voice. Perhaps they are remembering how you supported them during difficult moments. Perhaps they are remembering the way you listened when others did not. Perhaps they are remembering how safe it felt to talk to you. Perhaps they are remembering your humor, your kindness, your patience, or your unique way of making ordinary moments meaningful. These memories can become powerful when someone realizes they cannot recreate the same connection simply by meeting new people. And yet, even if they are remembering all of this, do not assume that memory automatically guarantees reunion. Allow reality to speak. If they want to return, let them show it. If they want to repair things, let them participate in the repair. If they want to rebuild trust, let them put in the effort. My beloved child, you should never have to carry an entire relationship alone. Two people must participate in a healthy connection. Your person may have realized that they lost something special, but the next chapter depends on what they do with that realization. Perhaps their next move will surprise you because they may approach you differently than before. Maybe they will be more honest. Maybe they will stop pretending that they do not care. Maybe they will finally say the words they were afraid to say. Maybe they will acknowledge mistakes. Maybe they will ask how you are doing. Maybe they will tell you that they have been thinking about you. Maybe they will admit that they tried to move on but could not fully release the connection. Whatever happens, remember to stay grounded. My beloved child, do not allow anticipation to steal your present moment. You do not need to sit by your phone. You do not need to check constantly. You do not need to search for hidden signs in everything. Live your life. If a message comes, you will see it. If a conversation happens, you will handle it. If an opportunity for reconciliation appears, you will evaluate it. Your peace does not depend on knowing exactly when something will happen. Your strength comes from knowing that whatever happens, you will be okay. My beloved child, there was a time when you may have feared losing this person more than you feared losing yourself. But now you are learning something different. Losing yourself for love is too high a price. Real love should make room for both people to exist fully. It should not require one person to shrink so the other can feel powerful. It should not require constant uncertainty. It should not make you question whether you are wanted. If your person returns, let them return to the authentic version of you. Do not pretend to be someone else. Do not hide your boundaries. Do not suppress your needs. Do not become smaller to make them comfortable. The right connection will not require you to abandon your identity. My beloved child, perhaps this entire journey has been preparing you for a deeper kind of love, whether that love ultimately includes this person or leads you somewhere unexpected. You are learning discernment. You are learning patience. You are learning self-respect. You are learning how to separate genuine love from emotional attachment. You are learning that chemistry is not the same as compatibility and longing is not the same as commitment. These lessons will serve you regardless of what happens next. My beloved child, if your person truly sees you as someone they cannot replace, let that realization inspire responsibility rather than possession. Nobody owns another person's heart. Love is freely given. You deserve someone who chooses you because they genuinely want to build with you, not because they fear losing access to you. Your person may feel the pain of your absence, but what matters most is whether they understand why the distance happened and whether they are willing to change what created it. My beloved child, there is a quiet strength in allowing someone to come toward you. You do not need to chase every opportunity. You do not need to force conversations. You do not need to manipulate circumstances. Let what is genuine reveal itself. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is no move at all. Sometimes silence gives another person space to hear their own thoughts. Sometimes your absence allows them to recognize what your presence meant. Sometimes they only understand the warmth of your light after they have spent time in the darkness of their own confusion. My beloved child, remember that you are not responsible for another person's emotional awakening. You can inspire someone through your character, but you cannot force them to grow. You can love someone, but you cannot make them communicate. You can forgive someone, but you cannot rebuild trust alone. You can welcome someone back, but you cannot guarantee they will stay. Therefore, keep your heart open but your wisdom awake. My beloved child, perhaps your person is approaching a moment of truth. The excuses are becoming harder to believe. The distractions are becoming less effective. The memories are becoming stronger. The questions are